What's up everyone, Clayton here, and today I'm back with another Skyrim build called the Champion of Meridia. He was a former member of the Vigilant of Sindar. When the vampires destroyed the Hall of the Vigilant and his brothers and sisters were slain, he became blind with rage and the thought of getting revenge against the vampires. He turned to the Daedric Prince of Life, Meridia. Meridia hates the undead and rewards those who kill the undead. He knew he could become her champion and get her power and support to kill all the vampires of Skyrim and Tamriel. That's a little bit of backstory on the Champion of Meridia. And you can pretty much just say he got captured hunting vampires, and that's how he starts his quest as Dragonborn. So anyways, we'll kind of get into the build. I picked Breton for the race because it has a magic resist, which is really good because you'll be slaughtering vampires a bunch. And vampires usually use magic, so I think that's pretty important. You can pretty much pick any race you really want. That's just the one I pick, and I would prefer if I was going to be a vampire slayer. You can pretty much pick anything that you think would be a part of the the Vigilant of Sindar, because you kind of see some of the races that go along with the Vigilant of Sindar. Anyway, some of the skill lines you want to be using is Restoration, Alteration, One-Handed, and Block. Restoration is probably most important because this will make you do damage. Which sounds a little bit really weird because it's Restoration, but there is a perk in the Restoration tree called Necromage, which pretty much says all spells are more effective against the undead. So you'll be using Restoration spells, which are added with Dawnguard, such as Vampire's Bane and Stendarr's Aura, to kill vampires, and with this perk it'll do much more damage. You also get some other perks in Restoration, such as Regeneration and Respite, to keep yourself alive. With Alteration, you're pretty much just using flesh spells, which is like Stone Flesh, Iron Flesh, things of that nature, just to be a little bit more tanky since you won't be putting tons of points into heavy armor. In this tree, there is a magic resist perk line that you can get. There's 3 points, which also adds on to the magic resist you have as a Breton if you pick Breton. Also, stability is a perk in here, which makes the alteration spells have a greater duration, which is pretty good too if you're using the shield for a lot of your armor. Next skill line is block, which you probably want to get all your points you can in the block because you want to stay alive as much as you can, and you want to be using a one-handed sword or an axe to stay alive and do damage. For one-handed, you want to get the Armsmith perk as well as the Fighting Stance perk, which increase or decreases your stamina. And Bladesman, because I use Dawnbreaker in this build. If you don't want to use Dawnbreaker, you can pick Bonebreaker or Hack and Slash according to which one you'll use. So those are the perks that are the main perks. Some of the secondary perks you want to get are in Smithing and Heavy Armor. Smithing, you can get Arcane Blacksmith, so you can upgrade Dawnbreaker. And Heavy Armor, you can just put a couple points in the Juggernaut, so you can have a little bit more tanky. For the armor and the weapons, I use the Dawnguard Shield and Chest Piece, just for pretty much aesthetic looks. And for the hat, or for the headpiece, I use the Adept robe, like hood, and it's brown color. I think it's Adept, and it kind of fits with the Dawnguard coloring. As well as for gauntlets and boots, I steel plated because that's what the Vigilant of Sindar use, and it's kind of a throwback to that. So we're going to go into a little bit of gameplay. How are you going to play this build? Pretty much, you're just going to be blocking and using one-handed attacks with your Dawnbreaker, which is the weapon you'll be using, which is just a one-handed weapon. It's pretty good and has a increased damage against the undead and a fire burn, which is pretty good. As well as Stendarr's Aura, if you use that up and you're in melee range, it hurts all the vampires or the undead around you. And Vampire Bane's also a range attack that you can use, which is really, really good if you don't really want to get up close because you feel like you can't tank. For shouts, I pretty much use one, which is Fire Breath. Fire Breath is really good because it does more damage to vampires because vampires are weak to fire. So that's good. You can use other shouts, but that's what it kind of role plays with. For Standing Stone, I use the Lord Stone, which gives you more armor and magic resist because you need to be tanky if you're going to be in melee range, especially on Master. Another thing I haven't really covered is your Stamina, Magicka, and Health. For this build, you're going to have a mix of all 3 again, because you'll be using Restoration and Alteration as Magicka skills. You need Health to be able to tank, and Stamina to be able to use one-handed weapons and bashes. Stamina is probably going to be the one you have the least amount in, Magicka second, and you probably want to have the most in the Health. So you just kind of keep that in mind. If you want to vary or use a different variation of that, you can do that. So that's probably what I would do. I think stamina is not as important as the other two. But anyways, yeah, that's the build. I like it. I played actually a lot of it. This is probably one of the first builds I've actually played past just getting the build done, because it's just that enjoyable, especially the role-playing aspect. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed this build, please leave a like and leave some comments down below, criticism or just saying you enjoyed it, so I know what you guys think about it. As well as if you enjoyed, you can subscribe if you would like to. Also, if you haven't already, here's some, I think these gonna put the last 2 Skyrim builds I've done right here, so you can click the annotations here and you can go back to those. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. One more thing I forgot to mention is next week, I don't know when the Skyrim build will come out because I haven't actually completed another build yet, so I need to work on it. So it might be 2 weeks before the next one's out. So I apologize for that ahead of time. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and this is Clayton, signing off.